extraordinary to think that these are the Alps in December.
Here in Chamonix, as across the Alps, there is a dramatic lack of snow and exceptionally warm temperatures. It is a glimpse into the future.
More than half the ski resorts in Europe could shut down in the next 50 years because of global warming.
So we won't be able to go skiing. Big deal. The thing is, it's not that, is it? That's the whole point. The fact that you can't go skiing anymore, or, you know, that the glaciers are melting, is not really the point. The point is that that's a signal that basically the Earth is destabilising, and all the norms that have allowed life to exist as it has done are changing.
Maintenant, avec le réchauffement, c'est différent. J'ai l'impression maintenant qu'on n'a plus que 2 saisons. L'hiver rejoint l'été sans qu'on s'en aperçoive, quoi. Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Ouais. Je ne sais pas. Je ne sais pas. Les glaciers reculent toujours.
List climate change, major events up to the present day. This is a couple of days before Katrina struck. Most people are following the evacuation order and getting out of the city. But New Orleans-born Alvin Duvernay had no intention of moving.
I got up Saturday morning and there was a buzz in the neighborhood. Everybody's running around and I was like, what's up, you know, hurricane's coming. So I checked on the web and sure enough, all of the models had it aiming right for us, bullseye. This is a monster and it's coming. Walked through the house a few times, putting things up, you know, my silk rug from Nepal up on a top shelf and my guitar, and you know, you just do these things, you know. I mean, another way to do that is get all your stuff and go. That's option 1, probably the best option. I didn't grow up in that option.
Alvin collected his 84-year-old father and then barricaded the two of them inside his house as the hurricane approached.
You stare Mother Nature in the eye. Usually she's fairly benign. Then she comes along methodically, ruthlessly, you know, and then she stands toe-to-toe with you and dares you. Dares you. Go ahead, get your best equipment out. Go ahead, do it. Let's dance.
I think one's got to be very careful about attaching a particular event to global warming. But nevertheless, the intensity of hurricanes is related to surface sea temperature. So increased intensity of hurricanes is associated with global warming.
By first light, the water in Alvin's house was chest deep and still rising. So he helped Alvin Sr. into their boat and headed for dry land.
And at this point, the boat's floating, so it's no big deal to launch the boat. It's launched. There's no landmarks, really, to speak of. That's a real different perspective, driving through your neighborhood at tree level. Then, all of a sudden, you realize there's a lot of people who stayed behind. There was no Coast Guard or police, or most of our National Guard was elsewhere in the world. Iraq, Afghanistan.
Alvin rescued over 100 people and their pets over 2 long days, including a 95-year-old man and a 6-week-old baby.
When that little basket came out of the window, that was a pretty special time. And just this peaceful, eyes closed. I mean, it just stops you in your tracks. Just dead stop and just take a breath, you know. There's nothing more impressive than that.
Alvin's neighbours were the lucky ones. Hurricane Katrina was America's worst weather-related event to that date, but it was just a taste of what was to come.
It is our fault. After years of debate, some of the world's top scientists have concluded...
Unequivocal is the word they use. Human activity is
contributing to changes in our Earth's climate, and that issue is no longer up to debate.
In Además, they've covered a glacier with a special protective sheet to reduce its summer melt.
One way I do my bit for the environment is turning to 30 with Ariel.
This is offsetting all those flights that I take, that I have to for my job.
David Cameron even wears recycled shoes made from old fireman's trousers.
Despite all the efforts to control pollution and its effects on our climate, the level of greenhouse gas emissions has reached a record high and shows no signs of being reversed.
Despite the Kyoto Treaty and all the talk of reducing emissions of carbon dioxide, levels of this key greenhouse gas are rising faster than ever.
6:30 a.m. on a cool autumn morning, and Alvin's heading off to work, searching for more oil. Ironically, the oil infrastructure off the coast of New Orleans suffered major damage during the hurricane. But Shell moved fast to carry out repairs, and just 9 months later, the rigs are online and everyone's back at work.
Oil was formed when ancient plant life in the oceans absorbed energy from the ancient sun. As these plants died, they settled on the ocean floor, along with the dead bodies of tons and tons of ocean creatures. Over the millennia, temperatures increased, and the organic matter was gradually cooked until the sun's energy was stored inside oil. 150 million years later, Shell's geologists analyze where the oil might be, then drill 3 miles down into the seabed to collect samples.
Here you go, Al. Finish this up.
Thank you, brother.
We get the samples and analyze them for the fossil contents, the microscopic fossils. And it's just another geoscientific tool in order to improve your possibility of finding oil. In my opinion, probably arrogantly so, but it's pretty high calling actually to try to do that, to try to figure out or maybe take apart time itself.
Go back a few thousand years, and the energy available to grow our crops or feed animals was limited by the daily sunlight falling on the earth.
But now we use the energy equivalent to hundreds of years of sunlight every single year. Every part of modern life is now literally made of oil, from CDs and plastic bags to medicine and computers, from clothes and carpets to cosmetics and cell phones. It's truly a wonderful and necessary substance. Then there's our food. Each calorie we eat uses nearly 100 oil calories to produce, package, refrigerate, transport. And fossil fuel-produced fertilizers now feed a couple billion or so people who could not otherwise be sustained. It would be prudent for humanity to carefully use the remaining oil to build a new society run without it. Instead, we're burning up tens of millions of barrels every day. So it will be gone. It will run out, leaving pretty much none for future generations. Even though we in the oil industry are working our asses off looking for and finding this magical substance. And then you see it, and you smell it, and it's greasy and ugly and smells so much like money. It's just beautiful,
13 billion pounds in 2005. That's £1.5 million an hour. 400 pounds a second.
And a hefty chunk of those profits came from here, Nigeria, where most of the population lives on less than $1 a day.
This is the water we drink. There's a lot of frog inside, toads, any germs you can find inside here. With the help of a microscope, you can see the disease we have inside. And we thought that if we introduce Shell into this community, that will change all this water, but it still remains the same. These are health sensors.
22-year-old Layefa Malin has an ambition to train as a doctor and then work in her home village, Kokojabane, where Shell started building this medical center.
So it has been like this for 3 years now. But we are still pleading that they should come and finish it.
Like hundreds of other community projects across the Niger Delta, construction has been abandoned. Shell maintains that's because of the risk of kidnapping. 13% of the oil revenue is supposed to be spent on community development. But the local people's share is almost all lost to the corrupt political system. So despite being in the most profitable oil region in West